you've got people across different bands, pay scales, in and out of the NHS, private sector, voluntary sector. So there's a lot of activity. It spans a lot of areas, and there's been a lot of change in the last few years with nurse education particularly, and the bursaries, tuition fees, all these different things, the new standards from the NMC. So it's been a very buzzy time, and people have been hungry for information and a chance to discuss and participate in the consultations. Yeah, I think the biggest thing we work on is the conference. We found putting all our energies into that rather than lots of smaller projects has worked well. It's a very well received conference in terms of people, first time presenters. It's a very warm and encouraging conference. And it's always got quite a topical feel of innovation, and there's been so much happening, particularly in the last 4 years, that it's evolved quite, it used to be always called Partners in Practice and things, which was a nice generic title, but this year we've gone for leadership in nurse education. So we're trying to make sure it's topical, and it's in Bristol, so we're including the health and wellbeing angle. So we take a lot of time, really a year's planning to get a really good conference. And I think that's the highlight. And we've got master classes, so it's not sort of death by PowerPoint. It's got workshops, activities, and we're always looking to evaluate and think of ways of making it interesting. So first time presenters we included this year, writing for publication. We have sponsors and things, so it works very well. I think it's a good showcase of education, and we get a good mix of clinicians. I think at the moment we're still getting almost monthly, if not more, consultations come out. So in my email I've got one on supernumerary status for nursing associates to deal with, careers framework activity. We're looking at working with the learning reps from a project that we did at Congress. We did a fringe on continuing professional development, and we contributed to a policy briefing document about the cuts to CPD and the impact of that. So that's evolved into an ongoing project there. So there's quite a lot of work streams that people are working on. I think at the moment we have been working very closely with the NMC through our professional lead Anne Corrin for with all the changes with nurse education and responding to those, influencing the standards, contributing to all the events and get data gathering and information gathering. And at the other big piece of work we're contributing to is the Careers Pathway RCN and Health Education England project, and looking at careers for clinical nurse educators and nurse educators, and then following on from that, the new practice assessors from the new NMC standards and education framework.